Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Cool. All right. I had to fix my mic volume, but it seems like we're all good now. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Leetcode. We're going to try to solve one of these problems. Okay, so we had started this the other day, which is encode and decode strings. Um, hmm. Okay, so what we have to do is get the length of the string. So okay, so I don't know what to do whenever we're getting the length of the string. If let's say the length of the string is a 2-digit number, right? Let's say it's 10. How would we go about doing that? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna loop through the string until I get to the separator. Well, how do we know? We know we're at the separator, but how do we know? I guess we can create like a double for loop. I don't know how that'll work. Hmm. Or we can do like some sort of 2-pointer. Maybe that would work. I guess when we do, we loop through the string and we check if the current iteration equals the separator, right? If it doesn't equal the separator, we'll add it to a string. But how do we know to do that on the very first iteration, though? Hmm. And then all we have to do is convert that number into a, or convert that string into a number, right? We take the current, um, whatever is at that current index, add it to a string, and then, hmm. But what do we do if we're on the first number? That's the issue. So we loop through the array. Like, let's say we had 3 hashtag dog, 10 hashtag 10 letter up. In letters. All right, then let's say 5 hashtag. We'll say React, right? So what we're doing is we're looping through this, right? We say, okay, this does not equal the delimiter or separator. Say this does not equal the separator, right? When we'll add that to a certain variable, right? We'll store that in a variable, right? And then we'll say, okay, well, this equals the separator, right? So the next 3 characters, right? So starting, right, from the next one and then over, I guess it would be this plus 3, right? So it'd be 1, 2, 3. And then we'll take that entire string and then store it into a variable, right? Yeah. So I'm guessing what I can do, right? I can create a parent outer loop, right? Which basically just loops through this entire thing, basically. And then we create an inner loop, right? And in this inner loop or in the outer loop, we'll store the length of the character or the length. And then we'll store like an empty string, maybe something like that. And then in the inner, no, the inner would have to be the loop that goes through the entire string, right? Hmm. Give us until 7:40, and then we'll just go ahead and look at the solution. Three hashtag DOG, and then it goes, okay, well, does this equal the separator? No. Okay, then we'll add it to the string, and then it'll be like, okay, well, does this equal the separator? No. Then we'll add it to the string, and then once this equals the separator, then we'll take that string and then convert it to a number, and then we'll take that, and then we'll be like, okay, well, we're gonna go over 1, and then we'll go over 1, and then we'll slice out from the array. I'm probably just gonna look at the solution really
Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write some more neat code today. So today let's solve the problem encode and decode strings. So you can tell the interface is a little bit different this time, and that's because we are going to be solving this problem on Leetcode, because this is a premium Leetcode problem and we can solve it for free on the website Leetcode. And also, this is a problem from the Blind 75 list, a list of 75 common Leetcode questions that we've been tracking on this spreadsheet. We know in one word. Problem is, okay, we did that, the encode was fine, but now we want to decode this back into the two original strings that we had, but there's no way for us to determine, right? Because we can't remember where one word ends and another word begins, right? So we need to have some kind of character or something to separate words. What if we used a pound sign or something, right? Something like this, or any character, maybe a question mark or something, right? But this is like our special character. That's what's going to separate words for us. So in this case, it works out, right? We'll go character by character in the input. Once we get to a pound sign, okay, we'll say that this word ends. So we'll say, okay, we have the first word neat, and this is not included in any of the words. So we skip it, and then we get to the remaining portion, code, and there aren't any more pound signs. So that works out in this case, right? But basically, our assumption when we're using this pound sign is that the pound is never going to actually show up in any words. What happens if we have a word, suppose in our word code, in the middle of the word, we have a pound sign, right? There's no reason why we can't have something like this. So in that case, when we take this and encode it, we're going to get something like this as the encoded string, right? And then when we split it, we're going to have three different words, neat, co, and de, but in the original you can see we only had two words, but when we get our output we're going to end up splitting this into three words, which is not what we wanted to do, right? We want to transform it back into what was originally given to us. So having just a single special character delimiter is not going to work, because that delimiter could actually show up in some of the words. Wouldn't it be nice if in the encoded string we somehow already knew how many characters would go in the first word, how many characters would go in the second word, etc., etc. So then we could just say, okay, let's take the first four characters, encode it back into the first word, then take the next five characters, encode it into the second word. So how could we characters after the delimiter, which in this case is going to be pound, and that works because we're only going to read one delimiter. We're going to expect a single pound sign no matter what, right? So even if the first character here was a pound, it still works because we're going to read an integer 4, read a single pound sign, and then say, okay, take the next four characters, even if they include pound, even if they included some integer like 8 or 6 or something, right? If they include integer, pound, it doesn't matter, because this tells us how. So now let's get into the code. You can see the interface is a little bit different. Yes, we are doing this on Leetcode rather than Leetcode because it's free on there. So let's start with the encode function. It's a little bit easier. So remember, we're given a list of strings and we want to encode it into a single string. How are we going to do
I don't get it. Why is he adding a comma? So he let sizes equal an empty array, and then the result equal an empty string, and then 4s. So he's looping through the string. Okay, he's looping through the string and then pushing the size optimal. Okay. This is what I was thinking. Okay, so you say let j equal I, right? And then while, oh, that's what I should have done. Okay. So create a while loop. It's like a double loop. It's like 2 pointers, basically. I was literally thinking of that, but I just thought it wasn't optimal. And then, yeah, he's converting the string into a number, right, from I to j. Wow. Let's go to the next question. All right, given an integer array nums, and then we'll come back to that question tomorrow. Given an integer array nums, return an array output where output of I is the product of all elements of nums except nums of I. What? Okay, given an integer array, return an array output where output of I is the product of all elements of nums except nums of I. Okay, so 2 times 4 times 6 equals 2 times 4 equals 8. 8 times 6 equals 48. Okay, 1 times 4 equals 4 times 6 equals 24. Okay. 1 times 2 equals 2 times 6 equals 12. And then 4 times 2 equals 8. And then times 1 equals 8. What is recommended? Is good or better than O of n, where n is the size of the input array. So we only want to loop through the input array once. Bro, I honestly don't know. Make sure the address is correct. Okay. Without using the division operation. Okay. Okay, a brute force. We can use the prefix and suffix technique. First, we iterate from left to right and store the prefix products for each index in a prefix array, excluding the current index's number. How do you do that though? How do you go from left to right and get the items before? Dude, I don't know how people do these, bro. Like these shits are impossible, bro. I literally I can't figure these out to save my life, bro. I don't know how people do them so easily, bro. I don't know. I'm gonna watch YouTube for a little bit.
Why can't I stay consistent? You might be experiencing something called executive dysfunction. I don't know, mate. Sounds like you're just being lazy. That's why they often mix up procrastinating with...
Canal? Oh, Thatch. What the hell? Razor Synapse is a joke. Bro, Razor Synapse, listen, guys, I don't want to be some big Razor. Because, listen, Razor, I'll give them credit where credit's due. Viper V3 Pro is actually a pretty fucking good mouse. It's like actually like a really good mouse, I will say. I would say it's like A tier, maybe S, depending. Some people think it's S, but I would probably put it A tier. It's a good mouse. The Huntsman Pro Mini, to be fair, not a lot of companies have the actuation. Why are we being in clash? Oh, and their mouse pads are not too bad. They're the fucking no, not the gargantuan. What is it? Strider or something? One of their mouse pads is actually pretty decent. And like,
Go basement first.
yes, sir. Like, look at other peripheral companies. I'm not gonna say names because I don't want to burn any bridges, right? But like, their mouse, dog shit, mouse pad, dog shit, you know, whatever, blah blah blah. And they have like one good thing. But
Get yourself a free kill.
Razer Synapse is fucking god awful.
Right.
That thing is so fucking shit. G-Hub is also pretty shit. What the fuck is that? What is going on with that? 2 in lobby.
I killed one above.
Nice.
There's one more coming in trench too.
They had a drone on
Alrighty.
the landing smoke. Watch.
Raj. Where was that Capcan that got down? Was that inside? I hear. No, it's outside. Outside front. Yep. Oh, old bridge. Wait, that's what I heard? What the f? I'm gonna hide.
Getting a kill with those default cap traps that literally they weren't prepared for us to take bait them, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, fucking noobs.
Those traps I
Noobs.
use always work once.
Good shit,
They'll work
dude.
I can't use it until like overtime. But I'll kill somebody in overtime with it if we had to go there.
Nice.
Just kinda
Overtime gamer, dude. I like that. You're preparing for the long haul.
Trying to get there, bro.
I think you got it in you. You sound like you know ball.
I'm spawn killing.
I'm in the, literally in the middle of making a video right now to see if I can make something happen. So.
Oh. Oh. Beast mode.
Ace is down.
Is Razer Synapse a good app? I just talked about how dog shit it was for like
One on Sky
10 minutes.
Or, he's like 70 Saboteur.
They're getting your K's off. Oh,
Nah, they're not getting my K's off. Oh, they got it off.
they totally got it.
What the hell? Pushing box, I think. Box dead. Doctor! Can I get a heal? Thank you, doctor. One more outside box.
Oh fuck, yo, he smoked me. He's bugged.
Now you're good.
1 HP. That's just one.
Push back, push back. It's 2v1. Don't get
Oh. And back
Not
saw.
bad.
just ping. You don't gotta tell me.
Yeah.
I know what.
Ooh. This guy's got aura. Extended barrel angle grip. No aura. Lost it all. There's one's watch.
In breach, I think. Yeah, in breach, I believe. In breach.
Yo, did these guys not hear? He does not want them talking.
Planning a thing.
Oh, no ping, no red ping. What the flip? Why are we red pinging? Oh!
Fine.
Wait, bro, you gotta impact his ass. Awesome. Yeah, sorry to put you in that 1v1 there, Valk. I'm working on a montage right now. Fortnite.
Ash is rushing in.
I'm with you, Mel. We're in a museum.
Kill that.
That's a museum.
Kill box.
Kill box, museum door, unknown.
Fuck.
Is this guy running a fucking Legion pistol?
Bottom museum door.
He's on your museum doorbell.
Oh, bow.
He's on a drone right now. Careful. He might be off.
The museum.
Left side, left side.
Nice throws.
You said it, man. Nobody fucks with the Jesus.
Oh my god, he's in the site.
No! Let's go to the museum. Nice. No, dude. No. I have a feeling you and Jinxie are making an org. I hope I'm correct. That's fucking. Oh my god, you got me. Oh shit. Yo, so Cecil, what's up with the Legion pistol? Don't he got a shotty?
I didn't mean to pick Legion, and the last time I played him, I had the shotgun out. So I had the pistol. And if I would
Okay.
have used
Said
the
it, man.
shotgun, I would have blew up the wall.
Nobody fucks
And
with
the
the
second I would
Jesus.
have popped that wall, I was using the element of surprise to kill those people because most people are afraid to shoot through the wall. But if that's a kill box.
I don't think people are afraid to shoot through walls.
I mean, I'm kind of scared sometimes.
Nah, no way. You don't sound like a scaredy cat.
Well, think
I'm not
about it.
scared, cat.
Think about this. In a V1 situation, literally a V1 situation is whoever makes sound first loses. If you're on
That is
defense,
true.
if people won't
Hibernated the
fall.
prime.
You can hear somebody on the other side of that wall. You got to get used to what's in front of you, what's behind you. Once you know those two things, you can kind of figure out what's above you too. You know, three different
I
places
guess
that you
so.
can
You're
play
right.
for things. And once you know that, you'd be surprised how many times you might get ahead.
But let me ask you this. So what's your thoughts on CBT?
I mean, it's funny for me to watch. I'm not into it.
Yo,
Hmm.
he's about to be right.
Yeah, the boys.
It doesn't finish.
You already know where they are, so I mean not the enemies, but you know where the bomb site is.
Is the guy still printer? Wait.
Someone watch my box.
Of course I couldn't. Whoa!
He ran out.
Man down!
He's 1 HP.
1 HP, huh? He's in Coast Guard. What the fuck? Dude, how'd he know? I was there? Wait, this guy is fucking Angle grip, fucking suppressor. Wait, what is happening? Wait, what is actually happening? Oh,
Vigil's
nice shot.
on you. And there's one on the bomb.
Yeah, I think somebody's right in front of me. I'm not gonna peek him yet, though. Oh, sidewalk up. That's my fault.
Fuck.
Hey, sometimes that gun bounces, bro. It happened.
No, I turned walk on, and I have it on.
Oh wow, he smoked me.
Sexier than a salmon seersucker suit on a summer Sunday.
We build websites for really cool hotels, and we do it in Webflow.
But that wasn't always the case.
Before we started being a Webflow exclusive agency, it took at least 3 months to build a new site for a property. It was rough.
Then Webflow happened.
Now with Webflow, we expect to reach 50 website tenants.
Webflow is a visual development platform, and it enables Influence Society to create hundreds of websites for hotels around the world.
That's okay. Let him have a round.
No way this guy's a 2 KD. I mean, he does have a 6 KD right now, but no way that guy's got a consistent 2 KD, bro. What?
What do we
This?
think?
Wait, what happened to my camera, bro? Well, anywho, guys, look at this. I'm so fucking starstruck. This guy's got tier fucking 4 MVP badge. That motherfucker's got a tier 4 MVP badge. This guy actually might be cheating. He actually might be. How many MVPs is that? That's like fucking 100 and.
Missing people's most likely cat.
Wait, that might be like 200, bro.
Don't die pathetically.
I think they spawn or they prep the scuba yellow window.
I hope they jump out.
Yo, hop on camp. Hop on camp. Darn it. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
I'm gonna go break this shit over here and pretend like I'm hopping on cam.
Or maybe you just cracked the window. I didn't see that. Nah, I think we're chill mode.
It's an orcs. It's an orc.
No.
Yo, I think we like can just take upstairs.
He's far back on wetsuits.
Damn.
Back, ladies and gents.
I got here. Yeah, one's in the door. It's me.
Yeah. Honestly, just let me know if they get up on you. That orc's gonna get bored.
He's getting bored. He's swinging wider and wider. Just watch your lockers.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm gonna push out. The orcs has wetsuits. I'm get the hatch. He's right side wetsuits door.
Orc's dead.
Mute Harry Potter. Mute Harry Potter. And then one's lockers.
Very dead.
Last one lockers on me. I think he went bathroom or dropped. Yeah, he dropped.
Oh, he's already up scuba. Holy shit, that's a fast fucking dock. That's a fast fucking dock.
Fellas, well played.
Nice, nice.
It's a great game.
Great game.
Oh, GG's.
Pablo, you to go, bro. You to go.
Yo, thanks, dude.
Thanks, boys. Good win, boys. You guys were the real heroes.
Thank you, Cecil. Dude, honestly, bro. Hold up. Dude, I feel like we gotta watch that guy. I feel like we gotta watch that guy. Wait, was this the guy with the fucking compensator angle grip, bro? It had to have been him. Suppress Barrier 9 too? I mean, that's not that bad. The main gun suppress is pretty crazy. Oh yeah, this is the fucking barbed on the hatch, dude. Or maybe he, dude, maybe he just bought I don't even know, bro. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I've ever seen this door barricaded. Oh, that's gonna destroy it. What's he doing? Oh, he's AFK until he gets a Capcan trap and then he runs over. Wait. Oh, this guy's an extended barrel on. Let's rewind that. Let's rewind that. I mean, that's pretty well educated. That's pretty well educated. But he's just back in his fucking hidey hole, bro. What is he doing here? What's up with this? Next round. Wait, where the fuck is he? Oh.
Okay, listen, I used to spend more time updating my team's plan than doing the actual work in it. Okay, real talk, project man.
Oh, this is the round. For the res? No, it's not about the res. It's about fucking dialing in on him immediately. Well, granted, you know, shit happens. Could have been a lucky little first wall bang. The second kill wasn't bad. The first... It's fine, guys. It's fine. Let's relax. Let's fucking relax.
This is not going to be the usual Theo video. Not that there is a usual Theo video, to be fair, but this is going to be more of a story and a journey to utter chaos. Some of the stupidest things I've ever seen anyone say on the internet, combined with fundamental misunderstandings of encryption, randomness, uniqueness, and a challenge that I presented, as well as a bunch of very fun memes and community stuff throughout. It started somewhere very interesting. I made a post about public URLs. The reason is a lot of the products we build would be significantly easier if the data wasn't put behind a traditional authentication wall. Rather, it was put behind a public URL that was super unique, so it's impossible to guess. I wanted to see how people felt about this in terms of public versus private. Would you consider a URL with a super unique UUID plus other data to be truly private? Or is it public simply because you can copy paste the URL and you now have access to it? I thought this was an interesting question, and I got some really interesting feedback from people, including a super interesting source. This is how Google Photos used to work, where every image, when you opened it, would load a public URL, but they were randomly generated with the UIDs, so the likelihood anyone would find your URL was 0. Got enough feedback to pretty confidently say, we cannot do this the way I want to for a few of our products. That's totally fine. We're not here to talk today about the public URL problem, although believe me, I wish we could. We're here to talk about a very interesting reply. Yes, it is public because you can easily brute force all variations. The question is if the data is worth the brute force costs for the one brooding. I am not convinced that Charlie here knows what a UUID is. And considering the fact that I had to spend hours trying to explain this to him, trying to build a challenge to get him to prove his bad assumption, and then doing a bunch of public comms about all of this, if you want to see how far this spirals down to an update to everyuuid.com, where you can scroll to try and find my UUID to win the $1,000 that I put up as a challenge, is going to be a fun one. But someone has to pay these bills because I did all this shit for free. So quick sponsor cut. We'll be right back. Postgres is an incredible technology, but I feel it tries too hard to impress Prisma was. Edge of the categories. Not only is this bold, it's just objectively false. If you're not familiar, UID v4, there's a lot of them. How many? 5.3 times 10 to the power of 36. It's 2 to the 128. It's like, I think the number's undecillion. The likelihood you'll generate 2 UUIDs that are the same is roughly equivalent to running at a wall full speed and phasing through it because the atoms lined up with the atoms in your body such that none of them collided. It's roughly the same chance. In fact, I think running through the wall is a higher likelihood to be successful. If you don't know what UUID stands for, it's literally universally unique identifier. The goal of UUIDs is to have an identifier that's unique enough that the likelihood you will generate 2 in a truly random environment is effectively 0. And to be clear, I'm not saying it's impossible. If your random generation solution isn't random enough, you can absolutely generate the same UUID twice. Thankfully, the vast majority of implementations anyone would use today are properly, truly random. This makes the website with every UUID that much more impressive because it has all 5 point whatever undecillion, and you can Command F for any given UUID and find it. The hacks that Nolan did to make the site work are incredible. But to go back here, let's get through the thread. As I said here, are we talking about the same UUIDs? Because the easily brute force all variations quote
is what? How do you brute force 5.3 times 10 to the 36 of anything? That's not viable. He then claims it's actually 2 to the power of 32 variations. And if you can make 100K requests off of one server per second, then you can brute force it in 12 hours. 2 to the 32 is a significantly smaller number than 2 to the 128. This is a made-up number. I was so confused when he said this that I said, where the fuck did you get that number from? I asked E3 chat, because what else would I ask? As you see, very large number. UID is not entirely random. You generate one UUID number and then vary it up and down for each item in the key. 2 to the 32 odds are you will find the correct one in 12 hours. To which I very calmly explain that he has literally no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He then drops a very, very funny article here, where in some specific Java implementation, there's a C function that has a high and a low value that are random, but the random isn't random enough, and the high is persisted. So theoretically,
Well, yeah, you would use bucket sort. All right, so you create, let's say, const create equals a new array, and you say const buckets equals array. Dot from, and you'll say length. Oh no, you put in it. Say length equals, and then length would equal the length of nums, and then you'll put array. You just say 0. Right, I think that's how you do it. All right, then you'll loop over the array. You'll loop over the array and save the frequencies. Yeah, that's right. So you'll loop over the array. Right, so I'll say for num of nums. Oops, let's say for let nums of nums. And then you'll say, no, this would be a map. This would be a map, not an object. That's right. Right, I want to do a map. And I'll do freak.set. And then what I'll also do, right, I'll say for, say const, and then we'll say num, and then count, and then we'll say of freak dot entries, and then we'll set the buckets. We'll say buckets. No. We'll do buckets of count. And then we'll push the num. Right, because we want the numbers. Right, we don't want the counts. Right. And then after, what we'll do, right, we'll say const flat buckets equals buckets dot flat. No. It wouldn't be a 0. It would be an empty array. That's what it would be, right? So that would be like this, and then it'll flatten, and then it'll just go 1, it'll go 1, 2, 3. And then I want to return this index. And then what K does, when you slice and you only give 1, it returns counting from that index all the way to the end, right? So we want the last 2. So we would want 0, 1, right? Which would equal 0, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3 minus 2, right? Which would be K. Correct? So it'd be nums.length minus K, right? And then let's see what that gives us, guys. Let's see what that gives us. I'm scared. Oh, I gotta sign in. Count is not defined. Oh, I'm tripping. No. I want to check. I want to say if dot has num. I want to say freak dot set, and then it'll be num, and then it'll be freak dot get. Freak dot get num plus 1, and then if not, I want to say freak dot set, and then it'll be num, and then it'll be 1. Right, that should be right. Okay, my output, I'm returning an empty array. Which means I'm probably not setting anything. Right? Oh, that's why it's setting. Let's say else. Otherwise, it's just going to keep setting it to 1. Okay, I'm still getting an empty Still getting an empty array. Then cannot read properties of undefined reading push. The problem of an element can be, the frequency of an element can be as high as nums.length. If the length is nums.length, oh, you can have as many elements in the array as the length, right? But the index goes to minus. Okay, I see. I see. Okay. Oh, I see. But that wouldn't really solve my issue in this situation. Yeah, I'm still getting. What I can say is if nums.length equals 1, that's not, is we'll say less than 2, I'll just say return nums. Or I guess that would, it would already do that automatically. So I really don't get how people do these problems, bro. I don't get it. Say buckets count dot push, and I want to push the number. Okay. I flatten it, and then I slice it from nums of length minus k, right? That makes sense. But I don't think I'm adding anything to the frequencies map. Hmm. I'm creating a new map. Then I'm creating a new Ooh, maybe I'm not using that correctly. Wait, maybe I'm not using that correctly. No, I am. I just buckets, flat buckets equals buckets dot flat. Does that return a new? Let me see. Array methods dot flat creates a new array. Okay. What? Or would it be splice? What does? Because I'm using slice. Okay, it cuts out a piece of the array into a new array. Okay, and then splice takes that array and mutates it. I don't know. What am I doing wrong here? don't get what I'm doing wrong, right? I create a new map. I create an array of buckets, right? It's an array of empty arrays. The length of nums.length plus 1, okay? And then I loop through nums, and if it has the number, right? So if the number is a key, then I set that number to whatever the value is plus 1, because you're going up 1. Okay, that's right. I know that is correct, right? Else, I want to set it equal to 1. Wouldn't it be 1? Because you've never seen the number before, so you add 1. Okay, that's right. That has to be right. I don't get it. That's why. I know why. I'm using nums.length instead of lat buckets.length. That has to be why. There we go.
You'd be able to, with a likelihood of 2 to the 32, guess another UUID it might have generated, assuming you're using all of these particular bad implementations. Also, I've noticed that this article is almost 10 years old, and within a couple weeks of it being published, Chrome updated to make sure that this theoretical attack couldn't happen, and even better, if you were using the crypto.getRandomValues or the crypto.getRandomUUID functions, you would never have had this problem in the first place. The only way you could have had this problem is if you misused math.random in Chrome to manually generate an ID using the specific implementation that nobody was using. So given 15 theoreticals, all of which have been outdated for 10 years now, it is potentially possible that given all my code is running on one single server, all the generation happens on that one server, the UUID implementation is using this unsafe implementation from 10 years ago that nobody actually used. The UUID is the only identifier. There's no additional information used in this check. And you have another UUID that was generated through the same pass. There is a theoretical path where you could maybe generate another ID that computer generated, also assuming it's not UUID v4. I even forgot that part when I wrote this rant here. It's not a real thing. It is comically so not a real thing. Personally, I would run the code on a Lambda and a proxy. I could make millions of requests per second. Brute forcing is feasible via off-the-shelf. Specialize in synthetic data and AI simulations. No, you either specialize in trolling me in particular or being stupid on the internet. It's one or the other, and I haven't figured out which still, honestly. My gut is that he said something stupid, realized at some point that he was super wrong, and instead of accepting it, just kept getting stupider. Somebody asked, why am I so aggressive? Because he said something really stupid and indefensible. So much so that I think it's important to make a video here. So I said, specifically here, he backed it up with an article about something entirely different. He confidently says it's the same thing. Maybe I discovered something new that no one else did, but give me a challenge with a considerate prize money and I will do it. So I did. I presented the impossible challenge. If it's so easy to guess a UUID, here you go. I ran the crypto random UUID function twice in Node on my computer. The first ID is this. The second, that's your challenge. I encrypted a text file with the following command. And I'll admit I screwed this up slightly because I used AES-256, which will decrypt successfully on nonsense values 1 out of 2,000 or so tries. I should have used a different encryption method that will always fail unless it's the exact right encoding. My mistake, I haven't encrypted something for the sake of brute forcing before, crazy enough. And I said, if you can crack this, I'll give you $1,000. And I even said it'd be easier to brute force it than decrypt it properly. And I put a file link up here so you can go download that file. Obviously, he responded very intelligently. The prize money's not high enough. Server costs alone, assuming you don't have proxy detection, will be $2,000. So you need to be a target with prize money of $100,000 or more to be worth my time and risk. Can someone in chat explain how proxy detection is helpful here? How does proxy detection, or what does proxy detection have to do with decrypting a file locally? Can anyone explain this to me? There we go. Nothing. There is no need for proxying anything because you download the file on your computer or server and try to decrypt it using the code that you generated. If you had to re-download the file every time or something, whatever, but that I made this challenge specifically so that I wouldn't have to eat a server cost as you prove that you're wrong, effectively. But as we've hopefully established at this point, our friend Charlie doesn't seem to know how to read, which is why I got one of the most brutal ratios I've ever had in my life. Prize money not high enough, yada yada. Thank you for confirming you have reading comprehension issues. 13 to 1K. I'm proud of that. Anyways, once again, I said if the data is worth the brute force, if you're offering a smaller subset of data, yada yada. In addition to the brute force methods I'm using, it does not differentiate between large and small subsets of data. It uses patterns and randomization to choose where to attack. I point out the proxy thing again, because he still hasn't addressed that. Do you use Cloudflare? Is this your own server? Do you use serverless with AWS that has some proxy detection built in? There are so many variations here. You didn't read the challenge. There are no network requests. Step 1, download file. Step 2, decrypt the file locally. I make a signal boost post because I think this thing is funny and I want others to see it. Someone replies, convince themselves they can crack any UUID in 24 hours. I presented, he actually went further. He said 12 hours. I presented the following challenge and they backed out because the server costs alone would be $2,000. This challenge runs locally. I dropped this bit here because a couple people were confused, which I understand. Thankfully, the people who were confused, other than our friend Charlie here, were not pretending that they knew how all of this worked. You also might see that Charlie is following me now. He was not when he started, which is a big part of why I was willing to talk so much shit, because he was not trying to figure things out. He was trying to assert lies. That is my line. If you innocently ask a question out of a place of misunderstanding, I would love to help where I can. If you are lying consistently, publicly, about a thing you do not understand, I will make you feel terrible for it, which is why we're all here today. My favorite post here is, I'll even give you a hint. The answer's on this page with a link to the Every UUID site. He jumped back in here. I wasn't going to respond because I'm tired of arguing for something that doesn't impact me. However, if you insist by making it so I can only decrypt locally, that means I'm limited to one server. What? How does having the file limit you more than having to hit an endpoint? What? The best part, the sorry Theo, nothing personal, after saying the stupidest possible thing. Thankfully, chat gets this. This literally means you're unlimited in scaling. So I know what trolls look like, and none of my troll senses have been going off throughout this one, even though I feel like they should be. Just the way he has asserted so many of these points and the way he's been trying to get real work and security seemingly publicly is just the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I felt like I was going insane at this point, but I wasn't the only one who felt that way, which is why our friend Nolan, who you might remember from the Million Checkboxes video. If you haven't seen that, I think that's a must watch. One of my favorite videos I've ever done because it was about his video, which is one of my favorite videos I've ever watched.
Dude, he looks so
Nolan
different
is one
without
of
a
the most
mustache.
creative
It's
developers
crazy.
I've ever seen, making truly novel, exciting things on the web. And he made the Every UUID site, which was a crazy hack, just an unreal, genuinely novel, insane hack in order to allow you to see every UUID on one page. He was excited about this, so he decided to go add a feature to the site, the Find Theo's UUID. So if you add to the end of the URL /#Theo, it will add this little box that will stay there as you scroll. And as you scroll, it'll try to decrypt the payload with every UUID you scroll by. This is particularly funny because he had to implement AES-256 in the browser for it himself. Nolan's a god. It did something really fucking cool with this. Give him a follow if you haven't. The dude's a legend. I'll leave his YouTube link in the description too, because you should follow him here. I have a feeling he's going to be making good content in the future. One of my favorite people in the space. The problem was, as I mentioned before, you can decrypt this file with random UUIDs. It's just that the result is nonsense. This is Charlie. And what's even funnier is he got it through the website, and he super confidently states that he cracked it. And this was the result when you decrypt it with his ID. Because he wasn't checking what the output was, he was just checking if it would decrypt. But my challenge wasn't decrypt it. My challenge wasn't even tell me the text inside. It was crack this UUID. And nobody has gotten the right UUID yet. I've kept a close eye on this. I haven't checked today yet, so I'll triple check first and foremost. Nope. I gave the hint that the first two letters are TH, and it is a valid English sentence, so that filters could be added to the Every UUID site so it wouldn't come up all the time. Because a lot of people, when they were scrolling, as you'll see in the screenshots here, had a success where it would decrypt with like $R. Obviously, that is not the right thing. So I gave the hint here. No one updated the site. People largely gave up. I even had a few friends who aren't in this dev world at all give it a shot too. I had one friend, Bonesy, who tried to do this with ChatGPT. She's not a dev, she's a gamer, but she tried to use ChatGPT to figure this out. And since AI generates outputs based on what's most likely from the previous input, it hallucinated some very funny things here. The cake is a lie and you solve nothing, where what it guessed the text
Coding is shockingly uncomplicated. First, believe in yourself despite past failures. Don't know how to start? Google the answers. Learn basic concepts. Code doesn't work. Don't know why. Blame your computer. Realize you were wrong. Google the answers. Achieve temporary success. Start next project. Code doesn't work. Don't know why. Google the answers. Instructions unclear. Computer burst into flames. Code works now. Don't know why. Repeat this infinite cycle. Good luck with your coding profession. Coding is shockingly uncomplicated. First, believe in yourself despite past failures. Don't know how to start? Google the answers. Learn basic concepts. Code doesn't work. Don't know why. Blame your computer. Realize you were wrong. Google the answers. Achieve temporary success. Spatula into his mouth. No knife and fork. He's eating it. I hear her saying, Tony, are you having trouble breathing? He's like, yeah, I can't breathe. Go to the hospital, can't breathe. And the doctors gave me like some sad start on news. Like, we're sorry your father, he has congestive heart failure. It's, he maybe has a year to go, and we're sorry. And I was like, obviously very upset, dealt with that for about a day. Then the next day they call me and they say, listen, we have unbelievable news. They said, we did the test again and he doesn't have congestive heart failure. He's perfectly fine. They said he ate so much sodium in one sitting that it fooled our EKG machines to think he has congestive heart failure. He ate so much lasagna and so much cake that the guy, I said, you've been a doctor for 20 years. Have you ever seen that? He goes, I've never seen that. Your father overdosed on lasagna? 2002 Western Conference Finals. Was it rigged? What's their official's name? Tim Donaghy? He definitely had money on it. Yeah. So that's a fact. Yes. So from that standpoint, yes. But from the Kings missing 20-something free throws in Game 7. Good point. 2002 Western Conference Finals. Was it rigged? What's their official's name? Tim Donaghy? He definitely had money on it. Yeah. So that's a fact. Yes. So from that standpoint, yes. But from the Kings missing 20-something free throws in Game 7. Good point. 2002 Western Conference Finals. Was it rigged? Just get onto that.
What we're gonna do, guys? We're gonna go back to I got next. We're gonna go to I got next. We're gonna go ahead and hit that Control C, file, open folder, repositories. I got next. Select folder. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and end the stream. It's 9 o'clock, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Peace.